for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure, including electronic voting machines and ballot counting systems, dishonest, almost all. They're vulnerable and they're easily compromised, and people within our government knew that.
The president there repeating, as John noted, some claims that have been heavily investigated and looked at. It is also worth underscoring that the Intelligence Committee released a report in 2021 that found no indication that any foreign actor was able to change votes or the voting process. I want to go now to Rachel Scott at the White House. And Rachel, so much has been discussed today about why the president is giving this speech now.
Yes, Mary, look, sources tell me that this is an issue that the president, quite frankly, has been fixated on, that the president wanted to come before the American people tonight and deliver this address. There's a lot of discussion over on Capitol Hill about whether or not this should have been the focus of what the president should be talking about. We are so close to the midterm elections. They're just about 110 days away. And for a lot of Republicans, they wanted to hear what the president outlined in probably the first 60 seconds of this speech, talking about the economy, talking about immigration, issues they believe are going to be front and center for voters in this midterm election. And there was a question heading into tonight, because the White House was very tight-lipped on what exactly the president was going to say about how much President Trump would be focused on the 2020 election. We know he has made a series and slew of false claims about that election that he lost, but the president did spend quite a significant time talking about the 2020 election. Again, what the president presented tonight, it's complex. Our team is digging through these documents that the White House says they're now declassified and making available to the American people. We're reading through it to fact check and understand more of what the president is presenting. But I could tell you here is what we do know. We know that President Trump and his allies, they challenged the 2020 election repeatedly. They lost about 60 cases in court. We know that the president tonight was talking about how he was deceived. He talked about how the American people were deceived in the 2020 election. Of course, President Trump was president at the time, and his own intelligence officials were presenting assessments to him that showed there was no widespread evidence that would have changed the outcome of the election, something that his own attorney general said at the time too, Mary.